If love is more than just a feeling? What if it's a universal force shaping how we understand ourselves, our community, and the world? Welcome to the Philosophy of Love, where we break down the science behind love, how it influences our minds, our behaviors, and the way we connect with humanity. Join us as we explore the psychology of love as a driving force for empathy, growth, and understanding. You're watching the Philosophy of Love podcast with Juan Lee and Dr. James Brockington.
Hello, Doc.
Hey, how are we?
Good. Hey, we doing it again. You're a speaking head. You're move your camera down a little bit. Yeah.
I'm a speaking head. Okay.
Sorry about that. Now you're up in the top too far. Yeah, that's good.
In the universe.
That's good. That's okay. That's okay. We'll fix that. So anyway, hey Doc, how you doing today?
I'm doing great now.
All right, that's great. I don't know. We were having so much problems earlier, and then when we said go, we'll fix this when we get later on. All right, but anyway, welcome to the Philosophy of Love. My name is Juan Lee. This is Dr. James Brockington, and this is sponsored by Clear Journey, which is a nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking for answers to life's challenges. We provide education and resources so that you might be able to navigate life more successfully in all areas of life, specifically finances, relationships, health and wellness, and overall self-improvement. So that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. We're going to help and support our community with education and resources. And before we get started, if this is not your first time, or if this is your first time and you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That can help us help you as we continue to provide resources to the community. Also, if you like it, give us a like hit the like button so that can help us in the algorithms also. What we do, if we have, anything about us, you go over to Clear Journey, our website. We have some things over there we want to give you. One of those things that we want you to have is the book that we have here called Budgeting Made Easy, the guide to taking charge of your money, because we believe that everyone has to be able to manage their resources so that they can reach their dreams, their desired goals. And the more you're able to finance or to manage your resources, the quicker and the more able you are to reach your dreams and your goals. So go over there. That's a free ebook there for you. And so by all means, we want you to have that. In addition, I am the author of a book called Love Made Simple, The Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, or Success. It's Audible and it's on Amazon. You can get it on both platforms where you can get the ebook, you can get the Audible book, you can get the hard copy book. If you would like to support us by purchasing a copy of that, that would really help us tremendously, and we thank you for it in advance. In addition, if you would just like to want to support us by a donation, by all means, we are a 501c3 that you can get as a donation as it relates to your taxable donation. If you go over to the website and you can donate to support us, we really would appreciate that. So tonight we're going to be talking about something that's very, very interesting, and it's very significant to what we talk about as a love mindset. It is about where we most often find ourselves learning about and hearing about love. And it's really into a little bit of we're gonna touch some things. Basically, tonight we're going to talk about, as you see our title, it's called Beyond Religion: Choosing a Love as a Mindset. And what does that really mean? And let's be clear, it's not to be able to bash any religion.
Yeah.
It's about taking religion and then going deeper to the intent behind it. And so we're going to talk about where this love mindset is really rooted and how we can really begin to get the intent out of whatever platform or relationship, or how do you want to say it, Doc? However you.
Ultimately, you want to get to the point where it's a partnership. It's an effective balance between you and that structural belief system that you're implementing in your decision making, and by design, what becomes your quality and consistency of life. Ultimately, what a mindset should represent the quality and the consistency of your defined life. And why am I saying the word define? Because define means specificity. When you know what something is, you're not confused by what it's not unless you choose to be. And therein lies the argument.
Well, and in this case, I think many of us, for whatever reason, um, have been or are continually confused about that very thing that you talked about, whether or not it is intended for the purpose of bettering our lives. I don't know if in many cases we understand it. And that's why, again, Clear Journey and the Love Mindset really talks about the practical application of love. And we don't hear that when we hear love. We hear it as a feeling, as an emotion, but we don't get it to the point of understanding the transformational power that love has in our lives to be able to modify our behavior so as to begin to enjoy the very benefits of this thing called life to its best, to its most highest capacity. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight is how do we get from where we are to where we want to be. And that is to be able to reach our full potential in this thing called life.
And this thing called life. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going to dig deep. We're going to ask simple questions, but we're going to really get, we want you to really engage. And if you have questions, please put them, let us know in the comments what your questions are, if you have questions. But also to understand that, we're going to touch some things that if you've ever had questions, put those in the comments and we'll get back to them and we'll reach out to you. But so here's the first thing, Doc. What does it look like to choose love as a way of thinking and not just a belief system?
Now, here's the thing love, by its design and its internalization, bringing it into yourself, is an emotion. Let me say that again. Love is an emotion. Love has one purpose, as all emotions do, and that is to put you in a context of what is occurring now as opposed to what was occurring a moment ago. As such, it can now focus your awareness and activate your curiosity in the process of internalizing meaning and purpose to this event. That is what an emotion does. It says, pay attention because what you are experiencing now was not occurring a moment ago. It captures your attention. Spelling it out, love is a living, organic, and vibrant emotion. Living is constantly moving with you in the spectrum of whatever directivity your life is taking. It's organic. It's not structured to exist as a singularity. It's organic. It's growing. It is in the composition of your intellectual, spiritual, physical, and moral growth process that is your thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning. So as you think and reason, love engages in that process organically and is vibrant because it's energizing you. And let's get right back to the central point: emotional awareness. Emotional awareness is directly linked to situational awareness. And how can you define whom you are, how and why you're organizing your thoughts, operationalizing that thinking, and by virtue of that, being mindful of its meaning and purpose? How can you successfully process the world around you without that degree of clarity and consistency? Is what this entire discussion is about. Notice I didn't use the word argument,
Hmm.
because all too often we slip into that aspect of arguing about what love is, as opposed to acknowledging with specificity what love is.
Hmm. And
And,
yeah, and I
that
think
just leads to difficulty.
yeah, I mean, but again, that's why clarity is
Yep.
what this is all about. It's about, it's not about, and I like to say this, something that I've learned a long time ago. We've got to stop thinking about who's right and look for
Uh-huh.
what's right.
Yep.
And when we look at what's right, we really then begin to see a bigger picture. We have to see something bigger to be able to have this conversation. When you
Yeah.
said curiosity, curiosity is something that opens you up to learn, to be able to see something that you haven't seen before. And so therein lies the root, or the motivation behind this conversation, or this discussion. Because without it, we find ourselves holding steady, or to what we've heard and how
Mm-hmm.
we've heard it,
Yeah. And how we've heard it.
and
Yes.
how we've heard it.
Yeah.
And so this is going to require to be to be open-minded, to really be open, to be receptive, to be thinking about things that could be. And I've had an interesting week this week myself, and in that same regard, as to how to make that thing clearer, to make
Okay.
it clarifying. um you know to be able to identify the universality of what love is and how it impacts all of us, how it's meant to do what you've just said, because it's that organic, living, organic, vibrant, emotion. um why is that significant? It's because we all bring something to it differently.
Excellent.
We
Mm-hmm.
all bring something to it differently, but at the same time, it's meant for the very same purpose. It has the same purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in purpose and in that universality that we all can understand how we are all in this thing together. We don't have a their way, that way, her way. It's only one way. It's one way in the sense of what's its purpose.
Exactly.
How you get there
Mm-hmm.
is really, it's that uniqueness that you possess, that allows you, the way you get there, the way you get there.
Yeah.
But it's not that you going in trying to get somewhere different than anybody else. Everybody's trying to get to the exact same place, and that's that fullness, that fulfillment, and that oneness that exemplifies the experience
Yeah.
called life.
Experience called life. And again, it's the instinctive drive that's internalized that gives what purpose is designed to establish meaning. Purpose defines meaning. Once I understand and accept the meaning that is defined by my purpose, I can acknowledge the clarity that we seek.
Well, well, then I guess, well, that's why love is so very important and essential to being able to accept purpose, because the meaning of love, like you said, it's that emotion, and how it connects to purpose is it defines the universality of existence.
Yeah.
It really
It does, because it is the balancing, the counterbalancing. You know, see, without purpose there is no meaning. Without meaning there is no clarity of purpose, and the
and
confusion
and again,
exists.
and therein lies, without this connection, you it's not clear, and it leads to so much confusion in so many different realms. I mean, not being specific, but it without this clarity, it really provides the opportunity for so many. Give me another word for
Well, the
bad.
word you're looking for is manipulation.
Yeah,
It,
well, yeah.
you know, it provides, without that clarity, it provides for two of the most dangerous aspects in aligning purpose and meaning, that is manipulation and distortion. You know,
Good word. Good word.
well, you asked me to give you some good words. There you go.
Get good word, because I was probably going to say something a little bit more harsh, but
No,
but good,
distortion.
good,
You know,
good, good.
and why do I
Manipulation,
want to?
distortion.
Why do we want to? Why do we want to put it in a capacity to internalize distortion? Because it still gives you what fundamentally is the most significant lesson that comes out of the connectivity, because they are connected, between religion and spirituality, and that is clarity of choice. You choose. You know, that is the fundamental aspect of everything that you as an individual are going to both encompass and internalize in the lifespan of your existence. Your choice. I choose to be in a position where I am actively engaged in three small things: thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning. And why do I say small things? Because they are already internalized within your intellectual as well as your philosophical projection into life.
Hmm.
You know, you have cognitive capacity. You know, Jean Piaget, famous intellectual psychologist, educational psychologist, spoke to your cognitive capacity for intellectual development taking place in those formative stages of conception to roughly the age of 11. So between the ages of your conception to 11, you already have the curiosity to engage, the capacity to align yourself to what engagement means. This is what thinking is. You have, through thinking, to define purpose and meaning. This is what critical thinking speaks to. And you now have, as an adaptive acknowledgement of what this all means to me. Look at the singularity of that. Means to me. This is, quote unquote, my life. My life. That becomes the purpose and the meaning that is reasoning. So as I'm reasoning, is this what is essential for my life to move me in the direction that I have chosen to move in? my commitment to it becomes just as significant as my engagement with it. That is what mindfulness is. I'm now mindful of this. And when I become mindful, when I as an individual become mindful of what love is as an emotion and what it connects me to as an application of my meaning and purpose in life, then the mindset that is my love will only undergird and strengthen the choice that I make that becomes my religiosity and my spirituality coexisting. And that's ultimately what we want to see happen in the evolutionary arc of humankind's development. Spirituality and religiosity aligning themselves. The distortion that has existed has been the lack of clarifying what critical thinking means to reasoning and what acknowledgement of that critical thinking and reasoning's relationship means to the behavioral responsivity that occurs. Because see, you can, once you understand something, you can adapt to it. Once you have accepted something, you can adjust to it. And once you have acknowledged something, you can achieve it because you have this defined for yourself what that achievement means to me. Everything that we do in life, everything that we do in life is measured by the context. Here's the mindset of what it means to me. Because that's my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my capacity to communicate with you, the active and responsive teaching, art of communication that we engage in is 99.9% of the time geared to give you the ability to acknowledge and engage in what I am presenting to you. You choose to do that or not, but it
You,
does not prevent you choose to do that or
yeah,
not. Yeah.
you have brought a couple of things that I don't want people to overlook in the process of what you've been saying. And the first one is you brought spirituality and religion into the conversation. And you also brought, you made a statement just a short time ago when you said the art of communication. And to understand the significance of the art of communication, it would go into the point of it being something that is not done without some intentionality.
Most definitely. Most definitely. It is in essence is what is sometimes referred to as the first contact experience. You know, the first time I have contact with whatever it is, there is the necessity for some acknowledged alignment in both our thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning of this experience. And that is why the first words that you hear in art are active and responsive, because the last word, teaching, is what becomes most significant. I am teaching myself to constantly reinforce my commitment to active and responsive. Actively engaging, responding to what I receive. This is how the ebb and flow of the interchange and interaction between us exist.
To understand what you just said is to really make communication extremely purposeful.
And take that a step further. If communication is not, in your words, extremely purposeful, do you see how distorted and fragmented the meaning of it becomes? If I don't make communication a priority, if I don't make it a necessity for my adaptability, then I'm violating the very tenet that Charles Darwin said ensures that we as a species survive, and that is adaptability. We adapt and we adjust.
You don't, and you know how I categorize purpose for what love is,
Absolutely.
and it is to do exactly what you just said Darwin was about, our being able to sustain our species.
Sus-
And that is what the love does in a very simplistic way, is to go to purpose, and is that is to protect and preserve humanity. And it's that process that you just articulated as to how it does that. But it is indeed, that is the purpose. And then when you talk like that, it really begins to recognize that we all have the very same purpose.
Exactly.
It is the exact same purpose, but with intentionality, it takes on such a very, man, it's a fulfilling process when you know what it is beyond a shadow of a doubt, what it is that you're here to accomplish. I mean, there's left with no doubt there.
There's no doubt. And when they're and this is the courageousness of what purpose and meaning give to you, because it is courageous to do this, to put yourself in a position where you become vulnerable to the inputs and the outputs that life will bring to you. Purposefulness and meaningfulness are woven into what is most commonly referred to as the mind and body congruity,
Mhm.
which is what our fourth instinct is all about: interactive mindfulness. Basically, I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I constantly reinforce that which strengthens my ability to interpret meaning and purpose around me. And that is precisely what adaptability and survival entail. And when we as a people can begin to realize that the singular connectivity is that desire to survive, is that desire within the capacity to survive, to expand, then we will ultimately get to what is most colloquially considered our fifth instinct: transition away from this and transform the meaning and purpose of that. You can see how petty arguments, disagreements, can be transitioned away from when we
Mhm.
have a commonality of purpose and meaning.
Mhm.
You can see that by having the trust and confidence in our capacity to do that, the interactive mindfulness with love as a mindset that says we are already involved in something that is living, organic, and vibrant. And our emotionality will let us know when there's something that's conflicting that, so we can already see here's problem in front of me. We now have, because of trust and confidence in our intellectualized capacity, the problem solve reason to meaning.
The things that I hear you saying right now is very much so solidifying the connection between science and creation.
Precisely. Precisely.
And
You know, I you know, we have fought wars behind us. You know,
but I'm saying you've just articulated. I mean, when you were saying that, I was thinking, man, the same purpose that creation has, the creator has for the species, is the ability to sustain it and to protect it and to preserve it. And what
precisely.
science has proven is that our most vibrant and most fundamental fundamental what was it? The fund. It was. What was the thing you said? Darwin says it
Yeah,
is
survival of the species,
to
adaptability.
survive.
Yeah,
To survive.
adaptability. To
It
survive.
is that is the core nature of science. Is basically saying we have to survive. We will do whatever it takes to survive. There is this continuity and this connection here to creation and science, and it's the same thing. It is the exact same thing.
It is.
And how do we get there to the same point? Is it that you said something very interesting? You said it's very humbling. It's very vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable to be able to see this, to be able to demonstrate it. You and from whatever perspective you come from, the outcome again is the same. The end goal is the same. It's
The
to
end goal is the
protect
same.
and to preserve. It's to sustain the species.
And here's the interesting thing. Here's the commonality. They both are designed to illustrate something greater than us, the single us, yourself. You know, self, the systemic emotional link you have to your feelings. They are showing you something greater than that. They both address a meaning purpose that is an answer to existence. A meaning and purpose that is an answer to existence. They both, by virtue of that, can coexist. One is not greater than or lesser than, they coexist.
They exist for the purpose of the difference between the universe and the existence of Earth, Earth, the Earth.
We can
The
if you want to
universe,
narrow the scope, right?
the universe is greater than the Earth. And so we're bringing the universe and the Earth coherent. We're trying to connect the two to the point where you can see the connection between the two.
And the moment you see that connection between the two, remember the significance of clarity. The
Mhm.
moment you see that connection between the two, you have clarified your capacity to continually do that because you just discovered how to internalize man's search for a meaning and a purpose. Viktor Frankl, a Nazi Holocaust survivor, clinical psychologist, wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning to come to some sense of what was this thing called Nazism? What was this? How did humankind devolve, quite frankly? How did humankind devolve to this point? He clarified that if you do not constantly engage in intellectualized conversations with one another, if you don't respect the meaning and purpose of one another's existence, if you don't see the commonality that exists between you and another, you will facilitate the differences that exist between you and another. I don't need to tell you right now the precipice we as a country stand on at
Oh,
this point.
it's true. The first thing that comes to mind was, oh, here we go doing it again.
And you,
We are doing it
here's the
again.
arc. Here's the arc of history. It will repeat itself.
Here's the thing that's so very interesting when you say that. I don't necessarily see it as a repeat. It's just a continuation.
Or continue, and that's why what we are talking about right now becomes so essential. Because if you don't see it as repetitive, then you are constantly being driven to the point that you must accept and acknowledge where do you break the cycle.
And that's the point
And
of
that's
being
the
able
point.
to break the cycle and to
Break the
recognize.
cycle.
But before you can break it, you got to recognize it.
And
You
herein
you,
lies
you got to
why love
recognize
is a
it.
mindset. Here's why
Yeah.
love is a mindset.
And I don't know what you said Franco was
Yeah, Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl.
and when you were saying everything that you were talking about, everything that you said as it relates to how we get to where we are, when you talk about the Holocaust and stuff like that and how we get here, the results of all of that stems from something very simple, and it's called selfishness.
Called selfishness. Exactly.
It will facilitate if you don't communicate, if you break this, if you don't connect, it inevitably will create selfishness because you will build walls.
And by building those walls, you facilitate precisely what Darwin spoke to as the necessity for adaptability. You do something that is designed to threaten you. And as it threatens you, you acknowledge and adapt to what is required of you to move past it.
And is that the protecting part where you build the wall?
And that's the protecting part to wall it off. But every wall that you build is designed to create the disconnect. It's designed to create the struggle. Yeah.
Ah, boy, oh boy. We how do we not see it's so interesting because in the process of me on this journey that I'm it is, and this is this life journey.
Right.
There is nothing that was ever created that was not created with a purpose.
True. True.
With a purpose.
With a purpose. True.
And yet, the reasoning behind you and I, the human being,
right,
its inability to understand what that might be is driven because of our individuality instead of our collectiveness as a human species.
Now see it for what it really is. Three steps in thinking. 3 steps. Understanding, acceptance, and acknowledgement. The moment you understand something, the choice now becomes to accept that purpose that is defined by your understanding of that purpose's meaning. So if your conflict is between understanding and acceptance, then your acknowledgement becomes distorted.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is precisely where the singularity of the struggle exists. We constantly will not accept what we understand.
Yeah. I mean, the science behind that, it proves it. Is that where we are is it's and that inability to accept the fact. And all I'm saying is that we cut ourselves off because we don't even see. I don't know if we see. We are herded or bred to think individuality.
Okay.
And individually, we don't have purpose. And I think we have uniqueness. We have uniqueness and our uniqueness. We are unique in who we are as an individual part of the species.
Right. Exactly.
But until we understand that we're just a part of the species, because the species has the purpose, not the individual.
Roll with the species has the purpose, and the individual has the meaning
of it.
Of that purpose. And the meaning of that purpose is to develop what is fundamentally a core, a centralized orientation to the realistic experiences / emotions that give the meaning of this experience to us. It is that core that will implement for us the capacity to develop four things: core beliefs, core principles, core values, and basic decision making.
Again, the things that now allow us to navigate this thing called life with. Those
Exactly.
those are the things you use to navigate it successfully, to be able to facilitate this purpose, because every generation has it. Every
Every
generation
generation does. Yeah.
every generation has the same purpose. Without it, it does not continue.
And because the challenge for it, this is where we start getting a little metaphysical. We're stepping outside of structured boundaries here.
It's
Because,
universal stuff here. This is big stuff.
and because it is, in fact, that universal and quote unquote big stuff, we are compelled by that third instinct, emotional gratification. We're compelled by that third instinct to cultivate that meaning into that purpose, to develop it. And in developing it, fourth instinct, the inner active mindfulness of it, defines us. And this is the message that a certain philosopher was saying on a mountain when he said, "These are the Beatitudes." You know, hey,
Well,
call them what you want.
yeah, and see, and that's the whole point. I mean, this is why when we started this, this is not about, you know, talking down about religion.
Oh no, oh no.
It is about going to the depths of the transformation that was intended for for the results of being communal. And again, go back and share with us the difference between religion and spirituality, so that people don't see that this is something that is opposed to one another, but it's just a different, what did you say, platform?
A different platform, a different expression of the
Mm-hmm.
continuity and the
Mm-hmm.
congruity, continuous and the balanced understanding of what love as a mindset means.
Yep.
Okay. Now, from a religious perspective, when we talk about religion, what we're talking about is something that is organized first. It's organized. It's a communal system, an organized communal system of individuals with shared beliefs. Traditions come out of those beliefs, and rituals
Mm-hmm.
reinforce those traditions. Now, look at what I just said: communal, individuals, shared traditions, and rituals. Spirituality is an individualized acknowledgement, an individualized acknowledgement of meaning and purpose. My meaning and my purpose is to, in this example, my meaning and my purpose is to realize love is living. It's organic. It's vibrant. Emotionally, I'm alerted to it and I'm alerted by it. Spirituality now gives me a sense of linkage to something greater than the singularity of me. I look out at the universe and I see infinite possibilities and equally infinite probabilities, all within the grasp of where my mind will interactively take me if I choose to go. Spirituality does that for the individual. It teaches you a sense of how to approach what connecting to a higher power actually means. It shows you with a certain sense of flexibility. Flexibility being the fluidness of being able to move from one circumstance to the other, still maintaining the disciplined acknowledgement of that meaning and purpose. This is what adaptability speaks to.
Okay, before we go too far,
Too
let's
far.
let's hit a higher power. Let's
The
put
higher power.
let's put that to rest, and in explaining it to in a way that it's not exclusive,
No.
but it is inclusive as it relates to what the meaning of the higher power is, because we've spoken about creation, the creator,
Mm-hmm.
and we've talked about the universe.
Yep.
How do we address the higher power in its in a fashion in which it does not eliminate or exclude or prevent anyone from being able to successfully conceptualize with clarity its meaning and purpose?
Okay, the geek in me, the doctor in me, is going to give you two texts, two books that for me were the foundation building block in answering the question that you're asking. The first book was one that
First of
is
all,
entitled.
it was a good question, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We don't ask weak questions around here. We have standards, We don't deal with trivial stuff here. No. This is not your dime store variety.
I was just interviewing the people, and they were like, well, "That's a good question." I was like, "No, you didn't even give me the good question answer. You didn't say it was a good question. No, you was like, okay, all right, but okay,
Okay.
we keep it real here. Go right
Yeah,
ahead."
we do. We do, because we want the audience to know exactly where we're coming from. The first book that I looked at is one called The Science of God. Science of God. It was written by a guy by the name of Gerald Schroeder. Science of God. What we do is, in his presentation, he looks at how the spiritualized belief system of transcending into something greater than the singularity of yourself is explained by the concreteness of probability and possibility management that mathematics and science gives you, because that's what it does. It gives you probability,
Mhm.
possibility. If I do this, then maybe that will happen, and it facilitates your curiosity. And it's your curiosity to see the expansivity of your intellect and your acknowledgement of growth and development that is that connection to the all quote unquote mighty, the creator. Another one that was of equal import to me was one by Deepak Chopra. Deepak Chopra wrote How to Know God. Throw the card right on the table. How to know God. It talks about the soul's journey. Now look how we internalize it. The soul's journey, the essence of whom you are, the mindfulness of what your meaning and purpose is. How does the soul itself journey into these mysteries of what we call existence? We so often, and this is where the distortion that we talked about briefly earlier, this is where the distortion gets in play. We try to materialize in limitation a specific view of authority. By virtue of that, we limit it to our understanding of what authoritarian aspects of an existence look like. I said between 0 to basically 11, we're developing our core principles, values, belief system, the meaning that is how we solve problems, consistent with that central orientation to realistic experiences slash
Mhm.
emotion. At a very early age, we are establishing that authoritarian figure. We see in the first aspects of the Old Testament, God as that authoritarian figure. You know, we always have this depiction of, and it's him seated on a throne. Okay, here's the problem that fascinated me as a younger individual growing up. In that focus, well, if you say that God is all powerful, the moment you define who he is the moment you've just limited him to that definition. Now, how does that jive with infinite possibilities and probabilities? How does that reconcile with its ability to say that if I accept the fundamental belief system that is the core teaching and value of what various prophets, Isaiah, Moses, John, various prophets, various religious scholars have beaten back. Religious scholars, now let me take you back. Religion, structure, dogma, form, exchange, acknowledge of shared beliefs. You see how the science of it now is linking itself to the application of it. You know, because if I can scientifically prove it, then I can demonstrate its existence. Until an apple fell from the tree, nobody had a word for gravity until Isaac Newton got hit on the head with it. Now he's proved the principle of it. And many ways we continue to get caught up in trying to prove the principality and probability of what it means for this existence to be what it is, instead of accepting the fact that, yeah, there can be this, and I told you we were going to step into metaphysical. Now we get into what is sometimes referred to as the supernatural aspect of it, this entity that is beyond all. But this entity that is beyond all does something very important for us as a people. It gives us a point to focus on. You know, Peter Pan tells you second star to the right and dead on till morning. It gives you something to aspire to. It gives you something to, quote unquote, as my parents used to say to me, be better than.
It's essential for us as being a species who requires growth, development from something outside of ourselves. We can't do it by ourselves. And as a result, you've got to be able to accept that without any hesitation, or you'll be confined to that again, which you have put yourself in a box to not be able to expand yourself to your potential.
And this is why you sometimes get that conflict between spiritual view and religiosity. You know, spirituality is that movement that the individual uses for his or her growth outside of an organized, institutionalized, and in some cases dogmatic structure. Now, principles and values, rituals, structure, form can strengthen your commitment to it because it teaches you the behavioral aspect of adapt, adjust, and achieve. But the
Supposedly.
supposedly, supposedly, we'll put that big supposedly there, but it still has to link itself in, and here again is my word, interconnecting itself to the understanding, the acceptance, and the acknowledgement. You know, I understand that there is something greater than the singularity of me. The point Kuta Kinte's father is proven to him when he holds him up there to look at the universe and says, behold, the only thing greater than you. This is what you aspire to. This is that greatness you aspire to. This is your acceptance that I can achieve that greatness. How? By living up to the ideals, by living up to what the dogmatic perspective of principle and value, religion, tells me should be the pathway that I follow to achieve. So
There's
here,
so much speculation that it should be. There's this
should be,
yeah,
yeah, should be.
See, and
Yeah,
again, there aren't you named all of those names of the Bible, all of them promote their own religion,
Their own structured, and
their
that's
their
that
own,
is their own structured approach,
even
which
up into Jesus.
even up unto and in the personification of Jesus. But I could say the same about the Buddha.
Oh, I'm not. Look, all
You
I'm
know,
saying is
I
that
know.
I'm not. I mean, my experiences is with Christianity. Okay,
Yeah.
yours. But again, I don't want to eliminate the fact of the clarity that's necessary to understand that it has everything that you're talking about supports the religion to do what you're talking about
Mhm.
if it's understood with clarity.
If it is understood with clarity, and it also expands you to what was the first aspect of communication? Active, responsive. Active, responsive teaching. What you teach me in religiosity is that I can have a belief system, a doctrine, a pattern, a form, a structure, and I can respect the fact that the Islamic individual, as a Muslim, has a same structure, a same pattern, and a format for his or her belief system that is no different than the atheist who does not believe a higher power has in his or her mathematical acknowledgments of how probability and existence align themselves. The point being,
Mhm.
respecting one another's viewpoint reinforces the acceptance of one another as someone of import and value. And isn't that what humanity is supposed to be doing?
Yeah. And again, and therein lies the again back to that universal use of word of love is that along with it, if you were to use respect as a component of it, is to respect each other's perspective to gain that same understanding of humanity, that same understanding.
And the moment you do that, here's the interesting thing. The moment you do that is the moment you can find the common core elements that link both spirituality and religiosity. And those common core elements are always going to be a belief, a sense of comfort and support,
Yeah,
reflection, personal, internal reflection, ethics, the value, the steadfast truth to purpose to reason that you bring to this. And then finally, and this is the thing that enthuses me the most about it, a sense of awe.
wow.
A sense of awe.
Wow.
How can all of this that I see, my father, Kunta Kinte's father holding him up there and looking at all of these twinkling stars, how can I not be awe inspired by that tapestry?
And that is again, you hit the nail on the head. To be able to be in awe. Just to have experienced what you just expressed is phenomenal
Mhm.
for being able to be a part and of an existence in an existence of something so magnificent. And to then, I mean, boy, what comes to mind is just
Yeah,
so how grateful,
exactly.
how grateful
Hmm.
to be able to be exposed to and have the experience of of this magnitude, and to know then how un I think back on something that I heard what's his name, the physicist, what's his name, the black physicist, the one who's living today,
Dyson,
um
Dyson, Dyson,
Dyson.
Dyson,
he
right.
he I
Eric
heard him
Dyson.
talk about the sperm, the amount of sperms that are expound in the potential for you and I to become a part of this experience,
Mm-hmm.
and the uniqueness of it in that magnitude, and to be exposed to something as magnificent as this in those type of, the percentages
Yes,
are
the percentages, right?
astronomical,
Mm-hmm.
but yet, and then be exposed to something so, as you said, an awe, just so at awe. How do you grasp that when you have that clarity? How do you explain the magnitude of the experience that we've been blessed to be exposed to?
If I go the Judeo-Christian belief system route, and I talk about the transformation of Christ, then I take you directly to Thomas, the apostle. Thomas, doubting Thomas, come over here. I want you to put your finger in the nail wound. I want you to put your finger or your hand, basically, because it was big enough, into where I was lanced and stabbed with the spear. And I want you to see the nail holes in my feet. And in that instant, snap your finger. Thomas has, and this is the key word you've been looking for, affirmation. I now have congruity aligning itself to acknowledgement of purpose and meaning that reinforces the awe that is that affirmation.
We call it the aha moment.
Uh-huh. Yep.
This is the aha moment. It's so amazing how we look at life as a collection of memories or collections of experiences.
Yes. Yes.
We very rarely understand the significance, the magnitude of those experiences. To be able to see a sunset rise or to see it set, and to really understand the awe of it. You can say it's beautiful, you can say it looks remarkable, but to get to what you've gotten to, what you shared with us today, is to get to the awe of it all. To get to the awe of it all. And clarity brings that awe. Clarity brings that awe. And here's the point. Apart from that awe, we miss this experience.
That's right.
We miss this experience. We can't get to that awe of it. And that validates the vulnerability.
Exactly.
That validates all of the objections for being able to do what it takes, or to submit yourself to this experience.
Exactly. Yeah. When I separate myself from all of the anticipation and the expectation of it, all that's left is the affirmation of it. You know, anticipation and expectation really are drum roll and drum beats. You know, I'm drumming up something, I'm building up to a climax, when in actuality, the fact that I am here is affirmation of what this means. I have the enthusiasm, I have the sense of awe, I have the sense of commitment to process and meaning. The fact that I am here, living and capable of being a change state agent, is precisely what the organic and vibrant aspect of this living emotion that we call love means. That's its meaning and that's its purpose. The affirmation of the mindset formed by the acceptance of your meaning and purpose. And my meaning and purpose is to create for you the confirmation and the clarity of your meaning and purpose.
See, most people think that's a bunch of double talk,
Well, yeah, you know,
but I'm saying, but if you can get it, I'm just saying, understand that all of these things connect for the
yep.
purpose of us being able to see clearly how to navigate this experience called life. That's what this is all about.
That's what this is all about. That's what it's always going to be all
And
about.
here's the thing. And in the process of doing that, we fulfill the purpose of our existence.
And what did I tell you our fourth instinct was? I think, therefore I am.
Survival.
I am, therefore I think. And in surviving, I reinforce my ability to do that. You know, this kind of sort of is, when you look at it from a certain perspective, the miracle of life starts with the realization that you are created in the image of God. You are created in the image of God.
And in doing so, represent.
See what happens when you hold a mirror up to yourself?
Represent.
You represent. You, and representation is just another leveled acknowledgement of affirmation. You know, when I accept the response and validation coming out of that.
Validating here is the thing. Validating creation in and of itself.
By being that pinnacle of its existence. You know, we now reach that apex. And this is the challenge for us. We reach an apex. This is where your sensibilities and sensitivities take you. How do you take that leap of faith? How do you move one step beyond? How do you structurally motivate yourself to do that? That's the marriage of religion and spirituality. You know,
it's how do we do that is that we take on the attitudes of love.
And you ask how it becomes the chosen mindset. There you go.
You demonstrate it. We demonstrate it through our actions.
And every single time we do that, we actualize that those actions will happen. Choice now becomes decision. And
look, we have run over, but I tell you, we don't have to stop here. We're going to stop tonight, but the fact is that we'll be back and we're going to keep on chipping away at this because, you know, I think it's until we can see clearly that we can begin to move swiftly and more intentionally in this journey. And clarity comes, it doesn't all come in a moment. It doesn't come.
Oh, no.
It doesn't come in a moment. But I tell you, we keep on chipping away at it. and it's going to be, in many cases, controversial. It's going to be challenging because we have ways that we've learned things, ways that we've come to understand things. But clarity means that we begin to fill in the pieces of the puzzle.
That's right.
And hopefully you can be, each and every one of us can begin to see clearly the picture for themselves. And that's what this is all about. It's about each and every one of us seeing the picture clearly for yourself, because you know what? The picture that I see might not look like yours.
It may not.
It may not look like yours. But the fact of the matter is that that picture that you see should have the same purpose as the one that I see.
And that is what's so magnanimous and rewarding about it. I don't need you to see exactly what it is I see. What I need for you to see is what you accept as the purpose and meaning.
And that's exactly it. That's it.
Yeah.
And so hopefully by not pigeonholing
it,
pigeonholing ourselves, but just bringing clarity from no matter what perspective you might see it. It's your picture.
Yeah.
It's your picture. It's my picture. It's our picture, and so we can then begin to find how humanity looks the same, even when it's has multiple pieces.
Precisely.
Multiple pieces to it. Hey, we're going to wrap this one tonight. This has been great. If you have any questions, any comments, please put them in the comments for us. If you want to contact either of us, you can reach us at info@clearjourney.org, and then put just in the remarks, just put either of our names in there or the philosophy of love, and we'll get back to you. We will
definitely get back to you.
We want you to know that we're here for you, and that no matter what the situation is, we're here to support you. And
Precisely.
That's what it's all about. Be mindful that we also have a monthly real life talk where it's a virtual Zoom meeting that you can be a part of by going over to clearjourney.org events and registering for those monthly events. It's called Real Life Talk, Unity Through Love. By all means, become a part of the community and come on out and share your voice. All righty.
Please do.
Okay. And that being said, then we're going to wrap this thing down.
All right.
Until next time, everybody, as I say all the time, we don't change life. We just help you navigate it just a little bit better. So until next time, we will see you later.
Thank you for watching this episode. Take a moment to head over to our social media platforms, connect with us, and leave a comment. We'd also love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, head over to clearjourney.org for more great resources. We'll see you next time on the Philosophy of Love podcast.